Hello, welcome to a very special show from the Sports Social. We are live on the Manchester United fan channel, Full Time Devils, their YouTube channel. We're podcasting on Football Social Daily, the only daily all Premier League podcast you can find. And today, our focus isn't on the Premier League, it is on Manchester United. I'm with three of the boys from Full Time Devils. Got Adam McCullough, Jay Motti and Joe McGrath, all ready to take your calls. We want to hear from real Manchester United fans today. 0345 111 76 25 is the number to call. We're going to find out who's to blame for the problem at Old Trafford right now. Should the manager be sacked? Should he be replaced? Was it better under Jose Mourinho than it is now under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Get your views in 0345 111 76 25. We're going to take your calls in just a second. Before we do, you know how they do those political events on Channel 4 and stuff, and you have all the candidates stand up and they make their 30-second pitch about why they should be next PM or whatever. I kind of want to do that now to find out where each of you stand on the current situation at Manchester United. So I want each of you to give me a really quick summary of where you think the issue is, what needs to change in as quick and concise way as you can. We'll start with you, Adam.
In short, Brexit means Brexit. Look, I was fearing for the worst when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was given the job. I was always scared that a knee-jerk reaction by the board to give him the job would ultimately end in us being here. As a Manchester United fan, someone that absolutely adores the guy, I want to see him succeed. But I'm starting to feel, even more than I did before, that he may be out of his depth. I hope he gets it right. I hope he turns it around. And I believe every new manager deserves more time than he's actually had. It's whether he's the right man to be given that time. I'm unsettled on that one. But I do love the guy and I want him to turn it around. I'm just not sure he will.
I think Ole in, Ole out is going to be a theme of today's show. Jay, where do you stand at the moment?
It's not great and there's lots of question marks about Ole, and I get that. But I think the people above him need to take a long, hard look at themselves. And to be honest with you, I would give him to the end of the season. And people will say, oh, well, you know, we're not going to get top four at this rate and all the rest of it. But I don't see anyone coming in and turning it around and getting us top four. And I think give him to the end of the season and you can look at it and say, right, okay, is he going to keep his job? Does he need to move on or whatever? Because personally, I know people hate this, but I'll say it anyway. I don't really want to finish sixth. I think you finish seventh. It doesn't really bother me because I don't want more Europa League. So I think that whole thing
is 12th though.
Yeah, well, 12 obviously not great, and I don't want to be going to the game and watching Dross every week. But I just think I don't see someone coming in and turning it around because we haven't got the players, we haven't got the squad. Yes, the results aren't good enough with the players we have got, but we're missing a lot through injury. We haven't invested it properly, other than the defence, and we're suffering because of it. So I don't think changing the manager now does anyone any good.
Joe,
I think maybe like some United fans, I'm a bit, and it's just a day-to-day life, confused. Like I don't know what I really want, because you've got Ole, who I grew up watching and adore and love, managing Manchester United, and he started off so well and you want him to succeed, but then you're at a point where you're getting beat by Newcastle, and it's not just getting beat by Newcastle, it's the stick you're getting, it's the players' heads just completely going out of games, and it's youngsters coming into the squad that we think have got so much potential but are being put under so much pressure that they won't maybe fill their potential because the pressure will get them too much and you might see them crashing and burning. Whereas if we were a good Manchester United team at the minute, them youngsters that are the future of the club will come through and will be the sort of shining light of the next 5 to 10 years. But now because of injuries,
30 seconds, Joe,
and because of everything, I'm just struggling. I'm struggling to know where my head's at. I really am. Right. So maybe other people can tell me.
We're going to hear from these three boys today. Lots. We're going to hear from you as well. 0345 111 76 25. I'm going to try and stay out of this as much as possible because I'm not a Manchester United fan.
You're just sitting there loving it, yeah?
I'm just
buzzing. Yeah, grin on your face. Buzzing.
You know why you got us in here today?
I'll do this, boys.
We're not daft.
Right, we're going to go straight to the phones. We've got Tex on the line who wants to talk about Manchester United's last game. Hello, Tex.
Hi, guys.
What do you want to say, mate?
Hi, mate.
Firstly, love Full Time Devils, love what you guys are doing.
Love you, man.
But one thing I want to say about is, a lot of us think that if we got rid of Ollie now, that no one else could come in and do better with our team. But I think the guys that we see playing look so bad because of Ollie's tactics. You look at Fred, for example. Everybody dumped on Fred the last game, and apparently he's gone from being one of our better players this season to total utter trash. Should get out. But every time Fred got the ball, he literally there was nothing he could do but pass it to McTominay because he looked like the only one that wanted the ball, or pass it back. Rashford was hiding. Mata was just, I don't remember him playing. Pereira, he's been played out right. Put these players in a better system, give them an idea of how to play football. I think we see the best out of them. I don't think Fred is trash because of the last game. I think he played the best he could in the current situation, and I think Ollie's not helping it, and Ollie's the result of it. I think there is blame higher up, but I think he's just inept to be a Manchester United.
I think that's the thing Manchester United fans are finding difficult to see at the moment, and we've had it with Jose as well, where people blame the board and blame the manager, and I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle, where yes, the board are a problem, and yes, the Glazers are a problem, and them not spending money and competing with Chelsea and City over the last 10, 15 years, even when Fergie was here, and I know we've spent money in that time, but they haven't really competed with them at the top table. Like, it's hard. You have to blame them, but also you have to look at the manager, because you have to say, can he do more with what he has? Are we seeing signs of improvement? I don't care if we lose against Newcastle. Well, I do. But if we play well and I see signs of improvement, then I can take it on the chin a bit easier. And I'm sure that's how most United fans feel. Great call, that.
Yeah, great call.
Was the only sort of thing I disagree with slightly. I'm not just being a fanboy. I don't think Marcus Rashford went hiding. I think Marcus Rashford's been absolutely running to the ground. He's lacking form. And I think he's been playing when he's not been fit enough. And I think this all boils down to us not strengthening enough in the squad. We're over-reliant on players like Marcus Rashford. And we all knew that we were going to have a long, hard season ahead of us. But to lose Pogba, Martial, and I think Wan-Bissaka was out as well for the Newcastle game. That's 3 of our best players. We haven't got the strength in depth. And that's just, to me, boils down to underinvestment. It's not good buying in defenders.
You've still got a better team than your form suggests, even with those big omissions.
But not without those.
But you're looking at midfield.
Without Pogba, Martial, our team isn't very good.
Looking at midfield.
Well, at least you have someone to shout at in Jim's face.
Yeah.
Can I just
Mark Noble was bossing our midfield. What does that tell you not long ago?
A quick point on Rashford. I think if Fergie was in charge of Manchester United now, Rashford would be sent on a lovely holiday, wouldn't he? Rashford would be sent on holiday, go and relax, go and sort of recharge and chill out, come back and then be the Rashford. But if Ollie was to do that and say, Rashford, go and have a week away, we'd be up in arms. Why are you sending our best striker?
We've got no one.
But he needs it. He needs that sort of rest. Fergie always had 4 unbelievable strikers, because if anyone needed that rest, then the other 3 would cover. We've got Rashford, who is our main man at the minute now, because Marshall's like,
I hate to blow my own trumpet.
Here we go.
Had my rib removed so I could do that.
Bit of yoga.
like Prince.
I hate to blow my own trumpet, but it was actually the other bloke.
Well, this is going to go well. Marilyn Manson.
All right,
okay.
But anyway, at the beginning of the season, I said these same things. A few injuries, we are in trouble. Martial injured, Pogba injured, we're in trouble. Where is our midfield? Where is our attack? A certain ex-Manchester United player told me we didn't need those players. We didn't need Herrera. We didn't need Lukaku. We didn't need we didn't need them, but we needed to replace them. You can't be coming in and expecting Mason Greenwood, even a Marcus Rashford, to come in and boss these teams. When we had Beckham, Scholes, but all these players coming through, they made mistakes, but also, and Gary Neville, when they came through, they had big boys around them.
Yeah.
They had Robbo's, Cantona, Sparky.
I'm sure we'll come on to the transfer policies in a little bit. If you want to get a go, 0345 111 76 25 text. Thank you very much for your call. We're going to go to Josh now, who wants a word on Solskjaer. Hiya, Josh.
Hiya.
What are you saying, mate?
I just want a quick question. I just want to know how anyone can actually be Ollie in. I don't get it. If this was any other manager we brought in, you would want him gone straight away. I don't really care what he done. That goal we scored in Champions League final, like, it's all about now. Like, he's crap. Like, his tactics are crap.
Do you not see any glimpse of anything in the future, Josh, about what he could potentially do?
Nothing.
All right, so he's in charge. He's in charge of United to the end of the season. Where do we finish?
16th, 15th. We're that bad. I think honestly, he's just parking a bus against everyone. That performance against Newcastle was absolutely shocking. I literally don't understand what he brings. He can't motivate his players. He hasn't even got any tactics. I don't even think he's got any. He's switching wingers mid-game and trying to change it. I don't get what he's trying to do.
Did you want him to get the job, Josh, when you won the PSG game? At that point, did you think he was the right man?
No. Nope.
You can hear it on a podcast. I said that as well.
I think a lot of people have said that, though.
Josh.
I don't think Josh is the only one that said that. I think a lot of people have said they were unsure. None of us Man United fans, and I'm sure Josh is the same, even though he says he doesn't care, what he did as a player. It doesn't. I know we all know that it doesn't count when he's a manager. But Josh won't want to be in this position of wanting Ollie to be out of the club. And that's the problem we're now in. And this is why this is the question that I actually asked Gary Neville at the time when we had that dispute was, if results don't go right on the pitch, we're not going to turn on Ollie. Will you see a revolution against the owners again? And I think that is a possibility.
Do you think Solskjaer would still be in the job if he hadn't scored that goal? Do you think
He wouldn't have got it in the first place, would he?
Yeah, probably
But he'd
wouldn't
still
got
be
it
in
in
it.
the
We didn't
first
bring him in because of his glittering record at Cardiff. We brought him in because he was a club legend, and we needed someone to get the sort of feel-good factor back again, and someone that could work with Woodward and all the rest of it. And the players knew because he'd obviously been at the club as a coach, and he'd obviously still close to Fergie and all the rest of it. So as a caretaker manager, it made a lot of sense. What didn't make sense for me was the timing of the appointment, because it wasn't after Paris we appointed him. We lost 2 games after Paris. We lost at Wolves away and Arsenal away. And then we appointed him, which was weird because it was almost like The Rock. Now we look back, that was The Rock setting in.
And it was almost...
And then we appointed him. Like, I could understand it if we'd have done it on the highs of Paris. You think everyone's buzzing, do you know what, let's do this. But to do it then didn't make any sense. We should have just waited to the end of the season. If we'd waited to the end of the season, realised the horrible run he'd been in, probably not offered him, we'd have looked back on his sort of caretaker manager bit with fondness.
Do you think he would have got the job? He wouldn't got the job, would he? If we waited to the end of the season, he wouldn't got the job.
Absolutely no chance.
And I think that's what the club
After the
promised
Cardiff
at the
defeat,
time.
no.
That's what the club promised at the time. And this is what we're seeing from the board and the owners and Ed Woodward and all these guys. They're wishy-washy. They change with the wind.
Yeah.
They're knee-jerk. They never stick to anything. How many times over the last 6 years have we heard Ed Woodward come out and say, Director of Football's coming soon. We're just looking for the right one. From where is he?
Right, so
where is he?
From
Every time it's a new brief.
We gave Jose a new contract in the January before we sacked him.
They haven't got a clue.
Why
they
did we
said
do
we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to be asking around. We're going to be interviewing managers. We're going to be trying to find the right man.
And
they didn't.
From standing back, from my point of view, again, from a non-Manchester United point of view, at that point in Solskjaer's reign, it felt like there was a groundswell of support, that it felt like he was the man for the future. And there were a few sane voices, people like Joe going... Hang
Joe's
on.
not saying.
I'm about to say sane.
I haven't said that very often, but people going, hang on, let's just sit back, let's wait a minute.
Wait.
But those voices seem to be shouted out by the people who wanted Solskjaer, I think partly because of that nostalgia of the Fergie era and the glory days.
It's difficult though as a United fan when Ole gets appointed and you're still doing relatively well under him to sort of be against it because of who he is. I think
there was a
that's
bit of
the
a
problem.
realism there that, a lot of people looked at it and thought, you can understand why he's being given the job. Whether they actually thought he should have been given the job is another thing, and that's where the position I was in. I understood why he was given the job, but I was still unhappy that they didn't do their due diligence elsewhere. Look, the facts are he has got the job. He is in the job. And we're now seeing people talk about, like Darcy's commented on there, what about Danny Welbeck? We're hearing people talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, me and him would love Danny Welbeck to come back.
Yes.
Would you
Bring
actually?
Danny back?
Me and him would
Danny
love it.
Welbeck.
So, no, you
Danny
would-
Welbeck.
But
Yes,
listen,
you would want Danny Welbeck.
listen,
Mate, I drive to Watford
this is
now
where
to
we're
pick him
getting
up.
We're getting to a point where people are just suggesting stupid things. It's like, bring Zlatan back. We need it. Are you crazy? Do you know what that means? That means bringing a player that we let go of 2 years ago because he was injured and old, and bringing him back 2 years later because we need him.
That's not
It's like
progress.
Ashley Young 9 years ago. He was in the stands at Newcastle, not in the team, not on the bench, not in the squad. 9 years later, he's captaining us at Newcastle.
In 30 days, in the last 30 days, 30 different players have been linked with a move to Manchester United in the January transfer window, which just kind of shows the kind of rumours that are going around at the moment. Thank you very much for your call, Josh. Really appreciate that. We're going to go to another view on Solskjaer from Mohammed this time. Hey, Mohammed.
Yes,
Hi, mate, you're right.
You're right, lad.
What are you saying, mate?
Yeah, I just want to say, first things first, regarding the club where we're missing a lack of goals, and what I can't understand is we sold Lukaku because he wanted to leave the club, but so did Pogba wanted to leave the club. So we kept Pogba, sold Lukaku, we didn't replace him. We're doing one thing for one player, one thing for not the other players. There's no management. I mean, Ed Woodward, I don't even know what to say about him, man. I wish he was just, I wish I'd seen him at a game. I'd kick him down the stairs. But at the end of the day, the matter of the fact is, I actually feel that there's a lot of things going wrong, and I didn't really like putting Smalling on loan. We should have got rid of, Jones. The players like Herrera, we didn't give him a contract. So we must have some money there, but it's like I don't know we need a football person in this club, and this season I'm really scared. I really do think that.
I mean, it's interesting what Mo's saying as well, because our club they boast about being a great business and we're great for this and we're great for that. Great businesses don't let one of their most valuable assets, contracts, run out and allow him to go on a free.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's what we used to take the mick out of Arsenal for doing.
Yeah.
We used to take the mick out of Arsenal players for having it too easy. And I almost feel that's how we've got it at United at the minute. Anyone can come and go. There's not really any demands. And that's the thing with me from Ollie. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes. And I want him to be positive in the press because ultimately you can't be killing people in the press. But on the sidelines sometimes, show some anger, show some... I remember Fergie being on that pitch side at Newcastle, absolutely tearing Johnny Evans a new one.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the post-match press conference, defended him.
What do you make of his comments post-match after Newcastle?
That's what I was going to say. I saw like Carrick smiling at Gomez, and I saw Carrick smiling with Gomez, and Ali smiling, and it's just like, I want you to hurt someone.
Yeah.
Slap someone.
It was the way he said, I'm happy with Marcus Rashford for his performance in the game, and as you said, he didn't go hiding.
The Rashford comment, I think Marcus Rashford at minute doesn't look like a kid who's got a lot of confidence, and I think throwing him under the bus in a post-match interview would have been the worst thing you could have done. Behind closed doors, you might have a word with him and say, listen, you need to put your ideas up or whatever, but I think if he'd have gone after him publicly and said, that's not good enough, he needs to do better or whatever, it wouldn't have done him any good. I think Ollie's always been positive. The only time I can remember him really sort of going for the players was after Everton last season when it was 4-0, and he said some of the players won't be here next season. But the problem is, the players that have left haven't been replaced, and I'd argue that some of the players he's got rid of, he perhaps shouldn't have, or at least one of them.
Let's get some support for Solskjaer now, and that's going to come from Nick. Hey, Nick.
How you doing? You right?
Support your man. Big him up.
Nick.
What's going on?
Been drinking since 9.
I know it's against the main opinion at Manchester, but you have to support him at the end of the day. He's been given actual, nothing, really. I think the only real bad decision he's done is let go Lukaku. But if you looked at the end of the season, and when he was going through that high spell, Rashford was scoring the goals. So he was thinking, Rashford will bring up Greenwood, it'll be lovely, we can let go Lukaku. So I can see that. But that was a great mistake, obviously. We can't score against Newcastle now.
Yeah, so a question there for you, Nick. Do you think then that Ollie's doing the best he can with this team? Because some might say, even though this is the team, or Ollie didn't get money to spend, he didn't replace the right players, when that 11 goes out, that's the only thing that matters in them 90 minutes. Is Ollie doing the best he can with the team that he's got? Tactics-wise, is he setting them out perfectly to go beat Newcastle? Or is his tactics poor and we are getting beat 1-0 at St James's Park because that is what happened? Did he do everything right on the weekend?
Nah, Newcastle was a great shake-up, and I think now we're going to get results through. I'm positive in that.
What, against Liverpool?
Absolute race. Because if you look at the last results, you had a draw against Arsenal. Yeah, it was a draw against Arsenal, but they're equally as bad as us at the moment. Yeah, they've got the front three that are fantastic, but they are poor. Then we have a draw against Rochdale. A 16-year-old scores against us. It is a waste of time. But draws are a point. Draws.
He's 16-year-old. He doesn't know what he's doing. Waste of time.
But you got to see, you can't get sacked by drawing. So he's drawing.
You
you
can.
You go, a draw happens. A draw happens.
I think you
so
can.
A loss against Newcastle is a make or break. It's going to motivate that team. You've seen Rashford post on Instagram and Harry Maguire post on Instagram.
Yeah, but that's not them, is it? It's not them. This isn't Rebecca Vardy replying back to Colleen. This is someone else copying and pasting a little thing for Harry Maguire to put.
I think what this guy's trying to say is, maybe something is happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing. Maybe there is something going on where Ollie's got this confidence that he's going to be given time. Whether he gets it or not, I don't know. Maybe that's why he was so confident in letting Lukaku go and not replacing him. It seems crazy to me, but maybe he's kind of thought, let me take an L this season.
But the thing is with Lukaku, Ollie never rated him, did he? Ollie never rated Lukaku. Let's have it right.
Yeah, that's why it was different.
He dropped him straight away. He only brought him in when we had a proper injury crisis. He shifted him out onto the wing when Rashford was hobbling about. He'd rather play Rashford up front hobbling and have Lukaku out wide than the other way around. So it was obvious from day one that just he didn't fancy him. Lukaku scored 6 in 3 games and he got dropped. It was just, you know what, he couldn't do right for doing wrong with
Zephyr actually agrees with him in the comments. He says, I'm with Nick. So he agrees with Nick. Aaron, Red United Views says they've let Ollie down badly, the board. United bought their defence by selling midfielders and attackers, says Adam. Which is kind of the point, isn't it? We strengthened our defence and we weakened everywhere else.
But isn't that a kind of solid thing to do in football anyway? When you're rebuilding a team, you start at the back, and you saw LVG started to do that, and Jose started to do that.
I get that starting at the back thing, but you don't sell loads of your attackers or two of your attackers. We took 200 Premier League goals out of that team and didn't replace it. Now, whether you like Lukaku, whether you like Sanchez, whether you like Herrera or not, or even Fellaini, who scored goals, you take 200 goals out of a team, you don't replace it.
Who's making those calls?
I think it's Woodward.
That feels massively
I think Woodward. I think Ollie's got to have a say in it. I think what Ollie must have said, I don't fancy Lukaku, and I think Sanchez, we all knew what a disaster that had been, especially with the wages and whatnot. But I think Ed Woodward, for me, has got to take a lot of responsibility for some of these decisions.
Yeah, 100%.
He's definitely involved.
Nick, cheers for your call, mate. Thank you for coming
Nice
on.
one,
And let's go to
Thanks, Nick.
Mohammed now. Hey, Mohammed.
Hello, hi.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I just want to point out one point first before I get into the show, which is the people saying that we wouldn't be hiring Solskjaer if he didn't stick his leg on 9-9. Do you know how disrespectful is that? Really? Our fan base is becoming like this. Are we really disrespecting the man like that? You know how many goals did he score? We all know that. Do you guys think like, oh, that's the only goal he scored? Maybe I know what you guys mean, but that sound is very disrespectful to the man who did everything for this club when he was playing. And the other point I try to point out is people are saying, oh, Solskjaer out in 9 months. And why Solskjaer didn't play or whatever he's playing on Newcastle. Have you seen who were in the pitch? Last international break, when we went into that, we were literally the third team in the league, the most chance created. And surprisingly, now we are 14th or something like that at the bottom, because we were missing how many people? Pogba, Rashford, and Martial. The hold up for Martial was the people don't appreciate, but that is a massive miss. And you know what they did to him when they give him the job in the summer. And the other thing is, people were slagging Mourinho by throwing players under the bus. Now Solskjaer is protecting them because they're already down in confidence. What is the point, man? Boy, throwing under the bus. What is it going to help? We were slagging Mourinho doing that. And now we're slagging Solskjaer by saying why he didn't come up and say, yo, this guy is not doing this guy is not doing that.
How long do you want to give him then, Mohammed?
Yeah, Mohammed, can I just ask you about Newcastle then? Why did United get beat against Newcastle? Why do you think we got beat against Newcastle?
Bro, because they're not good enough. The players are not good enough. The players who are supposed to be playing for Solskjaer, unfortunately, are injured. That's why, listen, the 4-0 against Chelsea, it didn't come up by surprise. Yes, they played better football, but we were clinical. We were creating chances. But if we're missing our players, what can he do? If he didn't have been backed up in the transfer window, because he's a football man, and he was expecting this to happen, by basically injury will hit him. But what is he going to do if the board told him, like, we're not going to give you anything, this is your budget, we give you Harry Maguire, AWP, and what? And James, what? 15 million pound player. And
that sounds all right to me in terms of investment.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not.
Because, bro, he was expecting these injuries. You guys know he has been in football for God knows how long. And if he can Solskjaer today, he would bring 2 players every single position. You know what I mean? But this board and this Edward guy is absolutely messing up. And the fans, they don't see that. I know they're angry, but come on, man. Come on, common sense. Let's say we sack him today. What is going to happen? What are they going to do? You still be paying the merchandise, the tickets, and everything, and they still throw this guy under the bus for 9 months. And they still give us a motivation of Allegri, whatever. Right? And we're still paying them the money after 9 months, same circle. What are we going to do then?
Mohammed, cheers.
I feel like we should be charging for therapy here, shouldn't we? We're charging by the hour.
You know what?
Everyone's got a lot to say.
I can totally hear what Mo's saying though, and I can understand the
100%.
perspective that some people come from when they wanna defend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because they're seeing a manager that hasn't really been backed too much in the window. They're seeing a manager that needs more quite clearly in players. And they're seeing a manager that is hurting by what's happening and he's trying to do the right things. I do actually think Oli has done some very good things in terms of trimming the squad. We had to do this. The problem was he didn't replace players quickly enough. And I've always said it, no matter what happens, whether Oli is a success or not, it looks like the latter at the moment. It may change, you never know. Football changes very quickly. But whether he's a success or not, the next manager will benefit from what he's done to the squad in terms of getting rid of a lot of stuff and bringing in the defence.
Do you guys have the patience for rebuilding?
I do personally.
Yeah.
Do you think United
Football
fans in
do
general?
not.
So the 5 years, let's say, conservatively, that it
You shouldn't have to build for 5 years. It shouldn't take 5 years to build. It should take a year or two, and along that way, you're seeing improvements.
Yeah, because the right man on the right board, you can do it. I mean, you look at Klopp, they finished 8th of his... Unfortunately, we have to look at them. He finished 8th in his first season. He had the right amount of money to spend and he brought in wisely.
But they also brought in... Sorry to cut you there. They also brought in, I think his name was Michael Edwards.
Yes.
Who's a sporting director who actually found a lot of players for them. And there's a story of him going to Klopp with Mo Salah and Klopp was saying, I don't actually fancy him. And he was saying, you actually need him because the way you want to play football... This guy is
intelligence.
So
it's intelligence.
He knows what the manager wants.
Can you imagine Ed Woodward doing that? I've just seen this player that the way you want to play football is ideal for your system.
It's football intelligence, and that is what we need at United.
But the way I feel things go is Ed Woodward maybe say, Ollie's probably says, I want X, Y, and Z, and Ed Woodward goes, nah. He doesn't bring in enough money, do you know what I mean? Like, he can't sell me a tractor. So we're dealing with different things here.
I think United have to be careful as well. You know, you talk about this 5-year rebuilding plan, and we always take it for granted that, you know, fans are going to keep coming, fans are always going to be there, and all the rest of it. Like, you know, obviously me, Maka, and Joe, we've seen a lot of success, but younger fans, they haven't. And you got kids and all that going to the game. They're not going to sort of keep going and just seeing dross every week, especially when you've not got that mob down the road winning titles with record number of points and all the rest of it. And United needs to be careful because they've always took it for granted that they're going to have this massive fan base, going to have the record attendances and all the rest of it. But it's been different in the past. When we've had a little rebuilding stages, we've always had trophies, we've always had a sort of a title every 3 years, or at least every sort of 3 years. And we've always had our rivals, like City, for example, not doing well. When I was growing up in the 90s or the 80s and 90s, no matter how bad United were, 9 times out of 10 City were a lot worse. It's different now, and United needs to be careful because they're taking all this for granted that fans are just going to keep going, keep buying stuff, we're always going to be around. The longer this transitional period goes on, the less that is going to happen. And I feel, I know I've been so melodramatic, but I'd say, my daughter started going to the game, she's only 8. She's seen us get knocked out of the cup by Derby County. She's seen us scrape a win against Rostov, and she's seen us beat Rochdale on penalties.
She cried, didn't she?
Yeah, she cried against Derby. She cried. To be honest with you, so did I. But
heated a pie.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just, and a lot of her mates are going down. Yeah, I don't blame him sometimes. She won't be going though.
HBM has just voted for us in Northwest Football Awards, so thank you very much.
Well
and you can do that.
What you're for?
Northwest Football Awards.
Best
media channel.
Adam's up for best t-shirt.
If you want to get involved tonight, 0345 111 7625 is the number to call.
How long have we been?
That's if you're watching us today. That's if you're watching live on the Full-Time Devils YouTube channel. If you're not watching live and you're listening to the podcast, then you can go and find Full-Time Devils. Just search that on YouTube, click subscribe, and make some great Manchester United videos. And if you're watching the live stream and you're not listening to the podcast, you can find our daily Premier League show, Football Social Daily. Just search Football Social Daily wherever it is you find your podcasts. I want to get views on things like the board and the playing staff at the moment, not just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer today, which seems to be where we're going in general. And it's James who wants his go on Ole next. Hey, James.
You all right, fellas? What you saying?
Yes, James.
Yes, mate.
Good to speak to you, James.
So I just wanted to speak about kind of the state of the club, going to Ollie as well as such. But I think like a lot of this year has been talked about how, the board has made like successful signings in regards to our defence, and we're progressing. Oh, and also a lot of, old United players commenting on it. But I think it's a myth if you actually really look at the 5-year cycle, because regardless of how bad we was under LVG and Jose Mourinho, with LVG we had players like Tyler Blackett and these other players, and we had the best defence in the league, and we've now got better defenders such, but we've gone downhill. Now you could say a lot of it's down to David De Gea, but you've got to look at the facts really and go, have we actually really improved from our defence from the period we say? And then the worst part is we've got a worse midfield and we've got worse forwards. We don't know who we need to look at, who's responsible. And then the worst thing about Ollie is that I actually want Ollie to do well. I'm not even an Ollie out person, but I fully understand everyone's views about being Ollie out because we've got no direction, we've got no style of play, we concede goals. I don't even know what a United goal is. I hate to compare it to when you look at City and Liverpool, but at City you already know that if they've got the ball, they're coming with pace, they pass you off the park. Even if they don't get it in that first attempt, 3 attempts later that's going in the goal. Liverpool, as soon as the front three are breaking, it's going in the back of the net. And then I go, even against Arsenal, McTominay scores a banger, but I went, did we really actually make anything that I was like, we looked convincing to win? And then I should be confident against Liverpool, so I know we turn up to the big games, but I'm just accepting we're going to get slapped up by Liverpool. And it's just like, I don't know where we're progressing as a club. I think we're buying into way too many myths where we're saying, oh, we've improved, because we actually haven't improved, and yet we're thinking we've got a better squad of players, but we're going, our squad's not good enough. And then my worry about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, regardless of how bad our players are, we're a top 6 club. Like, you can't excuse, all right, Leicester got a better midfield, even though I argue got better forwards, but you can't really excuse that. We've got a world-winning midfielder, Paul Pogba. Okay, some of the players around him aren't as good, but Matic, a few years ago, Premier League winner, Pereira's got experience in La Liga, all these players, and I go, is it really just the managers? Is it really the coaching staff? Is there no direction, or is it such a bigger picture that no one knows what to do, no one knows what our recruitment is, no one knows what our plan is, no one knows what our 5-year plan is? Because if I asked you fellas what's a United goal, since Fergie, I bet no one could give me an answer. And that's a worry, because I go 6 years, I go 10 years. I realistically could go, right, it might be 20 years till we win the title. And I come to Manchester in uni, live in Hume, perfect, for thinking, right, I can literally walk to Old Trafford. And now, I'm like, if it's raining, I can't even be bothered to go. And I'm like, I shouldn't feel like that. But I'm like, am I going to really waste 90 minutes seeing boring football? Yeah, we might win, and I feel like, I don't know, we're buying into too many lies. We've really got to look at fans and go, even though we might have improved with players, have we actually improved compared to people we were criticising in regards to LVG and Mourinho, when we had a better defence, and we'd even say Chris Smalling and Phil Jones are trash, but they were playing better under these managers?
There's a load of issues James has kind of highlighted there. I think from the board to the playing staff.
Yeah, I think it is a multiple layered issue, and that's why I think you find a lot of United fans arguing with each other, because you've got, obviously, the Glazers are a massive issue, Woodward's a massive issue, but also the managers have been issues over the last couple of years. Like Moyes, he deserved to get sacked. Could the board have done more for him? Yeah. Van Gaal, he deserved to get sacked. Could the board have done more for him? I don't know, because he did get a lot of players and he spent a lot of money, so I'm not too sure. Mourinho.
I'm waiting for this one.
Could they have done more for him? Yes. In his final summer, when he finished second, they could have done a lot more for him. But did he deserve to get sacked? Hell yes. So managers can deserve to get sacked and still have needed more from above them.
You say they all deserve to get sacked, and it's probably a similar case with Solskjaer now, that if he did get sacked, people might not question it. But did any of those managers along the line deserve more time? From Moyes to Solskjaer?
Well, Mourinho had 3 years. No. Van Gaal.
But now that finishing second...
Mate, if we kept Mourinho, it wouldn't have got any better. Please, nobody... We didn't really finish second that season. It was a did anyone ever feel we were in a title race?
We
got beat by City in September. Title was done.
But it's like what you're saying there, Mackie. Like you said about the summer there. That was our opportunity that summer after we finished second. All right, 19 points behind City. We finished 19 points behind City, and we went out and bought Diogo Dalot, Fred and Lee Grant to try and catch City, who went and broke their transfer record for Riyad Mahrez. That is crazy. There was no ambition from the club to try and kick on and challenge for the title.
I think the ambition could have came from the Europa League win when we won that with Jose Mourinho.
I thought that was a start.
Yeah,
a lot of people, some people even reflecting on that now on Twitter when we won the Europa League. We got Champions League football. We got Mourinho at the club. We've got big players like Pogba, David De Gea playing incredibly well. You kick on from there. You kick on from a European win. And we just didn't. Nothing happened. So if they can't take the kick over the backside that we sort of deserve, the board, then we've got no hope.
The thing that does frustrate me though is when people say, "Oh, Jose got second with this squad." this squad is nowhere near the same squad it was 6 months ago, 12 months ago. It's completely different. We've taken 2 Premier League strikes.
Oh, yeah.
It's worse, but I also think it's better. But hear me out when I say that. It's better because I feel like we've got a nucleus to actually build on. It's worse because in terms of getting results here and now, we haven't got the players. Do you know what I mean? Like Lukaku against a Newcastle or a Palace scores.
Under Mourinho, Matic still did a job. He's completely useless now. Herrera was an important player. He's gone. Lukaku scored a lot of goals under Mourinho. He scored 27 goals in a season, Lukaku, for Mourinho. So, yes, those players were effective and they did a job, and like they're either gone or they're useless now. So I know where Adam's coming from. You know, even Mourinho himself the other day said he needed to get sacked, or he deserves to get sacked. But I think the problem you have, you know, James made a good point. Can you name a United goal? What's a United goal look like? Under Moyes, it was all about wingers trying to get the ball into the box, 47 crosses, like nonsense. Under Van Gaal, it was about possession, just keep the ball until everyone gets bored to tears, and then you try and score. And with Mourinho, it was like have a battering ram up front, either an Ibrahimovic or a Lukaku, and you play off them. So it's completely different styles. And now Ollie's is coming in, trying to get his style in, and if he goes, someone else is going to come in with a new style and new.
The thing is
with
Ollie,
start
and
again,
I feel sorry
all
for
over
him.
again.
We're not seeing any signs of a style.
No,
just like we're not seeing any patterns of play. Like in his first 13, 14 games, we actually saw that. Now, I don't know whether that's because of the players he has as his availability or because of him as a manager, but he's definitely gone a little bit
It feels
in his
to
shell.
me like he's going into that dressing room and going, just play like we did in the old days. Just play like we did under Fergie.
You can't do football's changed.
And what does that mean to you know, Mason Greenwood?
No, exactly.
Play like you did before you were born.
We're going to rattle through a few calls here, so we've got a load waiting at the moment. If you want to get involved, 0345 111 7625. James, thank you very much for your call, mate. Let's speak to Mohammed. Hey, Mohammed.
Hi,
Is this
guys.
our third Mohammed today?
Yeah.
Yes. I think you bring on the Mohammed.
Racking up the Mohammeds. Mohammed the Fourth. What are you going for, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, can hear you,
mate.
mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not as crazy as the last Mohammed. I don't know.
No,
what
it's
that
all
guy
good.
is.
I didn't think he was crazy.
Nah, listen, it's an emotional
He was
time.
enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just to be honest, watching United is just like pure depression. I have no idea what our tactics are on the pitch, and I don't think Ollie is the right guy to move us forward, because like can anyone explain to me how Andreas Pereira plays right wing or left wing? I don't know what he's doing on the pitch, and in terms of his signings, I don't think they've been that good except for Wan-Bissaka.
You don't think the signing's Dan James not been good?
Dan James is a championship level winger. Look, what are we trying to do as a club? We're trying to win the Prem. If we compare Dan James to City's attack, Liverpool's attack, he is no one.
You think he's a championship player? Dan James, listen, I'm all for criticising certain players, but I think the way Dan James has come in, he's looked like a Premier League player to me.
I don't think there's an issue with Dan James. He could be a good squad player.
Yeah,
I think that's all it is.
I think there's a lot of expectations on him already, which is a bit of a shame because we all thought he'd be on the fringes. But I think he's done a very good job. He was player of the month, wasn't he, for the first
month? He's not the problem.
Yeah.
No, but my point is that if you compare him to Mane, or if you compare him to Sterling or Sane, he will never reach that level. So why are we trying to scout players and sign players that are like that?
Hang on, isn't he? How old is Dan James?
Yeah, Mane wasn't banging in goals every week when he was 21. Neither was Sterling. Had looked like very up and down, I think, a few years ago. I get where you're coming from in terms of we need to be sort of aspiring to those levels, but I'd certainly give Dan James a bit of time. There's a nugget of a good player there, and I
just don't think Dan James is the problem.
He's the last thing on my list.
I get what he's saying. I don't want to see Dan James starting for United every game next season. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a good squad player and he's someone that can come off the bench sometime.
He could kick on.
I think he wants a better quality of player.
Yeah.
He wants that kind of.
I understand that. It's a bit when you look at it and you think, right, we bought a £15 million player as our only attacking player we bought this summer. It doesn't sound.
But
great.
ultimately, Danny James is the same age as Rashford.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to take that into consideration.
But Rashford's been playing for 24 years on here, something. 26 seasons.
Let's talk to Nick. He's on the line. Evening, Nick.
Another Nick.
Nick, what's going on? These are the same people. The same people just bringing up again.
It's like a Scooby-Doo sketch.
You know what I mean?
Past a Nick and a Mohammed.
Nick, how's it going? Not spoke to you for a little while.
Morning, actually, you guys. I'm in LA.
Hello, Nick.
International.
Adam looked at his watch.
Yeah,
He's got the late
Simon's-
time on it.
Simon's over there.
Like he's a hotel.
Big fan, by the way, of the content. Watch all your videos and pulling for you guys to get that fan channel award. So hopefully we'll
Cheers,
get
Nick.
something.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Appreciate that, mate.
Go on, Nick. What was saying, mate? Just a bit of noise.
Cheers, Nick.
Yeah. Summed it up perfectly, mate.
That's it, really. See ya. No, I'm I'm worried, guys. I don't know. I don't know how we get out of this, except for a change of ownership, which I don't see happening. Maybe a director of football coming in could make a difference. And honestly, I love Ole to bits. Always will. I do get a bit worried sometimes when I watch him in interviews and stuff, and his answers. Are you guys with me on that at all?
I don't know. I think part of the thing with Ollie was maybe it was like trying to do the opposite of Jose as well. A lot of the time with his press conference and his reaction, because Jose towards the end was just throwing everyone under the bus, even the kids. He was, in the pre-season tour, he was like, these kids aren't good enough. This is what I'm stuck with.
But I think
there's an element of that. Yeah, I get the balance.
You could come out after a game against Newcastle and say, we didn't play well. That's not what I want. We need to be better. But when asked about an individual, he could say, he's a young lad, he's improved.
I think that's a very Ferguson type of thing in it, to sort of say, we need to be better, certain players need to improve, but individually sort of back him and whatnot. I think, like I said earlier, the only time I've seen Ollie really sort of add enough was at Everton away. And I think, you try and be positive, but you don't want to look deluded. And that's the problem, is sometimes you sit standing there going, yeah, we did really well, and there's a lot of positives when we just watch absolute garbage. It just makes you look.
Someone said in the comments, can someone make Jay laugh, because that will cheer me up.
Oh,
they love your laugh apparently.
Look at that Mata call where he said Mata was better than David Silva last season. I
stand by that. I fully stand by that opinion that Juan Mata is far better than David Silva.
If Juan Mata had pace, he'd be the greatest player on the planet.
Exactly. People, I don't know. David Silva is overrated.
Anyway.
How many Champions Leagues has he won? None. How many has Mata won?
One. We should crack on. 0345
for Chelsea.
It's not going to be one for us.
0345 111 7625 is the number to call. Still get your call in. I've got a question for everyone that we'll come to in a minute, because Nick in LA raised it there a minute ago.
I thought we had another Nick.
I was about to say it's Mohammed's turn now.
He mentioned it a minute ago. He was talking about the board, and he was talking about something should change with the board. I want to know what motivation there would possibly be for any change in management at Manchester United, in board level. So in terms of the ownership or in terms of the CEO, why should there be any change at that level? We'll come to it in a minute.
Why?
I don't understand why they changed it.
Can we start another show?
I don't.
It's 24 hours long.
All this anger from Manchester United fans, and I get the anger completely.
The Glazers are leeches. That's why.
What motivation?
Let me tell you how bad
from their point of view. From their point of view,
they're the biggest leeches going.
Well, if the share price
any money into this
that's
club,
when they'll leave.
Yeah,
ever.
But from their point of view,
forever.
If I'm the Glazers and I'm sitting there going, this is cushy, I'm making money, I'm getting a bit of abuse, but I'm the other side of the Atlantic. Why do I care?
The money will fall. The money will fall.
You know why
the sponsorship deals are going to fall and going to come crashing down. These records that we've built up, they will fall when the product is not there and the product is winning games. When that product falls, it will come crumbling down on the Glazers, and they'll realise actually making money in football is about getting results. Liverpool just got an unbelievable.
Is that what it's going to take then?
Liverpool just got an unbelievable shirt deal. They wouldn't have got that if they were going 8th every season.
They tried to paint that as it was the biggest and best in the world, and then the true numbers came out and it wasn't.
Really?
But
That just stinks.
We won the kit deal trophy.
Yeah, we just won the Champions League, man. You don't need to start bragging about kit deals. Come on,
that's a bit of a money-making exercise, let's say, for a kit deal, right? So Adidas, one of the richest sports companies in the world, really going to pay United an unbelievable fee for them to come 12th every year and not get any European football or Champions League football. The money will start to fall down. The players won't start to come in. The Glazers will be like, "What? Why did we do it?" The only thing that kept the Glazers making money was David Gill and obviously Sir Alex Ferguson. It's all.
Well, Woodward's brought in money though, didn't he?
Woodward's very good at what he does.
That's why he's in the position he is, because they still made a lot of money.
But I think he was living off
haven't we had like record revenue again?
He was living off.
I think people kind of have a bit of rose-tinted glasses with David Gill as well. He missed out on a lot of players for us, A lot of players for us.
We didn't necessarily need them.
Yes, we did. This is the point. This is what you lot don't understand. When Fergie was saying, all these things about, no money in the market, no value in the market, this, that and the other. David Gill was missing out on Robbins and Essiens and all that, while Chelsea were mopping them up.
Yeah.
This has started from back then. Go and check my Swansea review. After Van Gaal's first Premier League game, I was saying the same problems. Andy Tate, after David Moyes, what did he say? He goes, the Glazers, they don't know nothing about football, but eventually it'll become a financial decision. We've been saying it for years. People like to say full-time Devils don't say anything about the Glazers. We've actually been saying it for years. They are an issue. They've been an issue for 15 years. We replaced Ronaldo with Obertan, Valencia and Owen.
And Tevez left as well, don't
forget. Shall I say that again?
Forget that.
Shall I say that again? Overton, Valencia.
Someone's put Red United views. He managed to sign Berbatov from Spurs. Well, there you go then. That's the end of that.
Let's go from the USA, where we're talking to Nick, to go to Australia, where we've got Chris waiting for us. Hey, Chris.
Another Nick.
Chris.
Hey.
Hi, Chris. You all right, mate?
Hey, boys, how you doing?
Is your middle name Mohammed?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, boys, just first of all, I just want to say, love your content. Watch it every day in Australia, even though, it's 11 o'clock at night over here. But, absolutely loving what you guys are doing. Keep up the really, really good work. It's awesome. Boys, I just wanted to ask you, I, for one, am all in. Okay, I watch this every week. As frustrated as I do get, it's a bigger picture that we all have to look at. But it doesn't help when the board is being pressured now by the bad results. And don't get me wrong, Ollie is to blame for some of these results. I don't understand why he's going in with these two defensive midfielders when he does have the quality, the players, I should say, to be able to grind out these results and start creating more goals. Do you think that Ollie, one, doesn't know what his real 11 actually is? Or is it more he doesn't trust his midfield, that's why he's playing the two defensive midfielders?
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel the same as well, because I think a 4-3-3 would obviously be better. And we played our best football under that, but we don't seem to have the personnel. Matic, too slow. Fred, not performing. And then we've only kind of got McTominay and Paul Pogba. Pogba's been injured. Unless he brings in James Garner or someone like that, I can't see.
He's trying Pereira now as well, but it's not really.
I would love to see Garner. I would love to see Garner get in, but for me, my midfield three would have been a McTominay, Pogba when he's fit, and Fred, and have Fred do the work that Ander Herrera was doing. Obviously, he's not going to be as good as Ander Herrera. By the way, that Duncan Castle's interview that you guys did the other day was awesome. But the one part that broke my heart is having that leech of I'm not going to say it on live air, but that leech go up to Ander Herrera with a lower contract, lower salary.
Yeah.
And PSG's walked in and said, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the stat there. And the guy wanted to stay, man. What is that?
We'll miss Herrera. We'll miss him big time.
Money and to say, you know what, brother? And now you've got Fred there, who he hasn't really adjusted to the English game. It's a different ballpark, man. It's a completely different ballpark. But for me, now watching, not unfortunately, but he would seem the best option to take on that dog work and let Pogba be free again.
Free Pogba.
I don't know.
Yeah, free full-time devils.
Hashtag free Pogba.
And just the problem that I get where you're coming from, Chris. I completely agree. I think the problem with our midfield is once you take Pogba out of it, it's so weak. It's just
sometimes when you put him in it.
Well, even, you could argue that. Yeah, you can argue that, or Mac could probably fight over that one.
That's why I said it.
But yeah, you look at it and look at comparison to other midfields. I think someone said earlier about Leicester's midfield stronger than ours. Without 100%. Pogba, it is. Yeah, maybe.
Even with Pogba, because they've got more balance.
Yeah, fair enough. But, let alone the top sort of 2 or 3 teams. And you can't get away with that in the morning. You can't have a midfield of just bang average players or players who are good on one day and terrible the next.
Where does three of you sit on Pogba at the moment as an individual? Because obviously he was described as a virus by Mourinho when he was at the club.
Imagine a virus calling you a virus.
Again, this summer he kind of sounded like he was trying to negotiate a move away from Manchester United.
Well, he said it. He said he wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want him at the club? Are you happy with him staying? Is he just the kind of player of quality that you need to keep?
I think without Paul Pogba, we're in all sorts of trouble. And I think we're finding that out now. And I know a lot of people won't like that. A lot of people say just get rid of him and all the rest of it. But there's 2 problems I have with that. 1, we'll miss him when he goes. And 2, I have absolutely zero faith in this setup or this board to bring in a like-for-like replacement. I think we'll end up getting rid of Paul Pogba and bringing in Sean Longstaff, who's now not even the best Longstaff brother.
Let's talk to Simon, who's waiting on the line. Evening, Simon. I don't like him saying evening. It's 2:00 in the afternoon.
What are you doing? You're messing with our edge.
How you doing, Simon?
You know when you go out to the cinema and you expect it to be dark? I'm going to be going out of here today. Where's that Michael? What's going on?
Yeah, hi guys.
Hi mate, you okay?
Yeah, basically, I just look at it from the perspective of Ollie. From the start of the season in the transfer window, if you know you're not going to get replacements, you don't let players go. It's very simple. Sanchez and Lukaku, they should still be here. They can still do a job. It's not like they're washed up and like a Matic, for example. They're not like that. So why let go of them? Herrera as well. If I was Ollie, as soon as I get in there, I find out the contract situation, I'm going to the board straight away as they sign him. Straight away. There's no, but he's already gone to P. No. Give him, if he wants 300k, you give it to him. It's simple. Because what we're going to do, we're going to buy... He wanted Longstaff and McGinn. And they were quoted at 50 mil.
So who are you blaming here, Simon? You're saying the transfer policy's wrong, that you've let go of players, not brought right ones in. Whose fault's that?
It starts at Oli. It's a combination, but I blame Oli mostly. You got to do what you got to do. If the board is shit, the board is shit. You got to work with that.
I get what you're saying. You got to do what you got to do. And if the board is shit, you got to work. What can you do? But if all his hands are tied, if he's going there and the targets he wants, he's not getting them. What else do you think he needs to do?
Yeah, Simon, who do you think is it Simon?
How do we know?
Simon, who do you think the best manager in the world is right now?
Who, sorry?
Who do you think the best manager in the world is right now?
Well, it's out of Pep and Klopp.
So what would they do with this United team? Do you think they'll win the Premier League?
But he's not saying that though. Simon never said that.
Yeah, first of all,
He's saying it's Ollie.
No, but Simon never said that we should win the Premier League.
No, but what he's saying is Ollie needs to do better with his team. What I'm saying is his team. What will Pep do?
But he never said that we're going to win the Premier League.
No, but I'm just saying that because they're challenging for the Premier League now.
No. Yeah, no, but what I'm saying
that's what Pep.
But he never said that.
Yeah, but I'm putting it to him. Would this team be challenging? I'm not saying.
A fight in the studio here between these two.
I'm saying, right, would we go for the top four then?
But you're almost ridiculing him for saying that.
No,
Ollie should be doing more with his team.
Top four.
Let's let Simon.
Would Simon would be the top four?
The manager. Okay, look. The first question you need to ask is this the best that the team can play? I don't think so.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So, if you do get a Pep and a Klopp, I think they'll get more out of them. We'll see a system where they're pressing high or they're doing we're going to play short balls only or stuff like that. We're going to see that. They're not going to play 4-2-3-1, which is, I don't know why, it's crazy. He's persistent with it. He shouldn't play that. He shouldn't sacrifice the system. I don't know why he's doing it. Maybe he wants to play Matt and 10. For what?
I hear what he's saying.
They're not good enough.
Regardless of what happens with the board, he has to do more with the team.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. What I'm saying, what more do you think? Where do you think this team could? If you had the best manager in the world, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but he's not arguing. What this guy is saying, and I totally hear him, is he wants to see signs of improvement. I want to see United having a shot on target.
Yeah, I get that.
But I want to see United. If you can't play a 4-3-3 because you haven't got the midfielders that you need, find a way to make this work. Bro, I'm FIFA. United are crap. And I know real life isn't FIFA. It isn't. But when you start the game, it's set up how Hollywood set it up. I immediately changed that up, bruv. Play it to the best way. You've got the players in there. You've got 3 half-decent centre-halves. Play them. You've got two fullbacks that like to get forward. Play them as wing-backs.
Yeah, my point
Play your 2 strikers up front. Play 2 or 3 in midfield. You play into your strengths. I don't think we play to our strengths. We're waiting for Pogba to get back. We're waiting for Martial to get back. And someone commented in here saying, is it a problem that Martial is only available every 8 games? I don't think you can criticise the man for being injured. But as soon as he's back, we'll see the quality that he brings. Yeah. I'm not getting on Ali's case because I think he has one hand tied behind his back almost. But I do think he can make life easier for himself a little bit here.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say is, right, so say the greatest tactician came in and used this squad to the best of the ability. What is the best of the ability? Are they pushing top 4? Is this team a top 4 team with the players we've got?
Not in a minute, no.
What do you get with them, Adam? If you're career mode, are you winning the Premier League on FIFA? No, you probably couldn't take time if you don't want to make it for him.
If you take Pogba, Martial and De Gea out of this team...
Yeah, which you almost have done.
Bottom 10. Bottom 10.
But I don't even think you need to take De Gea out of the team. I think you take Pogba and Martial out of the team.
Well, De Gea's kind of taking himself out of the team.
You take Martial and Pogba out of the team. And then, I know we were talking about this earlier, taking out Wan-Bissaka as well has been one of our best players. We're in all sorts of trouble.
Didn't you hear someone say that we shouldn't have signed Wan-Bissaka?
What?
Didn't someone tell you we shouldn't have signed Wan-Bissaka?
Oh, I think we had Rick the Red on the other week and he said that Smalling was better than Maguire and we shouldn't have signed Wan-Bissaka or something, or some madness. Or Danny James was overpriced. I don't know.
Simon.
Just some madness. I can't remember it. He got lost in the melee.
Simon, thank you for your call, mate.
Thanks, Simon. Some good points there, mate, despite Joe trying to throw you under the bus.
Oh, did he?
Simon, I got your back,
Simon saying that. Simon putting words in his mouth.
No.
This guy obviously never played. Simon
If
says.
Klopp came in, we'd win the treble.
No, I was saying, do you think we win the Premier League?
No, but you did. He was like, he made a point saying Ollie should make the team better.
I should have said top 4 then, shouldn't I? I should have said top 4. I should have said Premier
You were
League.
like, so
one mistake.
I'd like to apologise, Simon.
They'll win the league, yeah?
No.
Like, patronising
Joel,
it.
miss.
Oh, no, I was just saying.
Anyway, listen, Joel races trams. He's not there in the head. So don't take anything he says seriously.
Let's all take a breath for the next caller, yeah?
These two need to go outside.
He's going to come on, go.
Sort it out in the car park.
Who is it?
Just deep in, deep out. Ready?
This is what happens when you don't put Mohammed on.
We're going to go to Brian instead. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Brian, sorry.
Brian.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
How we doing, man? You all right?
Yes, Brian.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. What we say, mate?
Yeah, you know, this is a really tough position for Manchester United to be in. You know, I think like I got the privilege to go to Old Trafford for the first time 3 years ago, and I think that if I was, you know, stationed in the United Kingdom, people wouldn't say exactly. People wouldn't see it as a privilege, you know. But it's one of those things where it's so tough because on the one hand, we've had 6 or so years of just poor recruitment and just poor running from the very top, and that's affected what's gone on the field, which has made this rebuild process even longer. And so, as fans, we have to be patient to watch things kind of change and shift and improve. But in the short term, when we take those steps, and we know we might take a hit and go backwards a little bit. In the short term, we're really looking like we're lacking right now, and it doesn't look like, you know, there's any way out. And it's just really hard because I don't know if the majority of Manchester United fans or people who would consider themselves to be fans or followers of the club have the patience to go through what United are going through right now. You know, it's just really hard. It's really hard, and for Ali, he's got a tough job. He's got a tough job. But one of the biggest questions that I have is, if you're Ed Woodward and you've had 3 managers fail under your stead, how do you get away with that?
There you go. How does he get away with
money?
it?
I think the Glazers are probably looking at the revenue returns before they look at the league positions, and we've just had the financial report saying that, you know, the revenues were up or whatever it was, so they made a load more money, and that's what they care about. The Glazers aren't United fans. Joel, you know, you were the Cushy, I think you said it before. They're not only going to be bothered about the results if it takes a massive effect on their bottom line. That's what they care about. They bought this. We didn't even have the money to buy United for starters. They took out all these ridiculous loans and all the rest of it. They bought the club just to make money. They take out lots of money, tens of millions every year without fail. They all take it out. They're all making loads of money off it, and that's what they care about. And as long as that cash cow keeps feeding them, which it is doing, they're not going to be too concerned about the fact that we're going through managers every other season or whatever. That's not going to affect them because they're still making tens of millions of pounds off Manchester United Football Club.
If they make that call and get rid of Solskjaer, who comes in next? Who wants the Manchester United gig, given the circumstances above them? Allegri and Pochettino. Pochettino, we talked about this on the podcast the other day.
Go on, I can see where this is going.
Pochettino's in a situation where he's publicly said that he doesn't like the way he is a coach at Tottenham and not a manager. He
doesn't want to come to United then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it stinks of Mourinho, doesn't it? It's like Mourinho, I'm a head coach, not a manager. That's exactly what Mourinho said.
So who's going to want the United job?
I think when you look at Allegri, if Allegri was going to come in, he couldn't do anything with this squad, I don't think.
I agree.
I think it'd be very similar to when he went in at AC Milan, where he kind of just crashed and burned and finished mid-table, kind of thing that you'd probably end up seeing here. Pochettino, again, if we were going to get him, I'd probably wait for a little bit, wait until the summer, see what happens with him. By then, he might have gone to Real Madrid, been sacked by them, had a 6-month break, and be ready for United. You know what I mean? So like, anything can happen with them. I wouldn't really look to get our new permanent manager in right now, because I think it's a tricky position. But I do think they'll benefit from the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of players. I genuinely don't know. I think it needs to be a stopgap, but
you're talking about Solskjaer is not
we brought someone in.
Whatever happens, that even if he's here for the end of the season, that's
logic tells me no. My heart and my hope is Ollie is the man and he wins everything. But logic tells me that's not going to be the case.
We're going to move on to Matt now on the phone, who it's taken an hour to get to this point, but he's going to mention the dreaded R word. Matt, take it away.
Is that Rooney versus Vardy?
I was about to say, is that Rooney?
Rooney versus Vardy, who wins?
How you doing, guys? You right?
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to say, obviously, the bad form which we're under at the minute, should I say, with a lot what's going on, within around the club, obviously. I mean, looking at the table now, 2 points off relegation. Well, 2 points looking at it off relegation, with obviously Liverpool and Norwich to come in the next 2 games, and obviously we know Liverpool isn't going to be an easy one, and obviously going to Norwich is going to be they're going to be up for it, but it's going to be a matter of case, are we going to be up for it, with obviously what happened at the weekend against against Newcastle, and obviously I would say when I go out and about different places, I get people mocking us, and it's like, whatever. You haven't really got that much history, is what, because obviously when you think about all them years we've had under Sir Alex, about the success years of winning titles and domestic cups and all that, that's...
You mentioned being in the relegation zone, Matt. Do you think that's actually genuinely a concern at this point, that you might end up in... I mean, right, so they say 10 games into the season is where you can kind of judge a team's performance, right? We are 2 games, are we on 8 games at the moment? So 2 games off that, 3 points off the relegation zone. Is it realistic that Manchester United could be in a relegation battle come the end of the season, genuinely?
I can't even remember off the life of me the last time we did ever get relegated, actually.
73, 74, I think it was.
Wasn't there a documentary released about that recently?
Too Good to Go Down, which is quite ironic, because that's what I keep hearing.
what I was going to say with regard to that, but I'm not going to stand here and say Solskjaer out for incidents, which, again, it falls down to...
Relegation battle might spice the season up a bit. At least we'll be fighting for something.
Which obviously, I think since after the Chelsea game on the opening day, which is probably the last one I came to, the form has just been a bit, with the draw at Wolves and obviously other results, that's just been how I've been watching it from behind the TV screen. It's just been a bit of a just a near enough a repeat from last season. Well, not a repeat from last season, but it still seems to be going. Something's just in right there somewhere.
I know, and that's the problem as well. The football feels like it felt last season. And under Ollie, we were promised that players would fight for the shirt. We'd see attacking football. We'd see movement. We'd see tempo. We're not seeing that, and that's the problem.
We're going to do one more call, and that honour goes to Paul in Paris. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hi, Paul.
Hello. I would like to express my views on the Manchester United crisis. I just want to tell you first that I'm not a fair weather Manchester United supporter. I support Man United in the 1970s. When I first saw them played against Southampton, we lost the FA Cup final. My views is that it's easy to criticize with hindsight. Now that Man United, the problem is that we did not have a plan once Alex Ferguson left. And Sir Bobby Charlton and the others said we have a list of a few managers to replace Sir Alex Ferguson, and it was a complete mess. David Moyes was never the good one.
Paul's gone.
He's had enough.
He's been knackered by the Glazers.
He got in what he was saying there, though. He said we've not had a plan since Fergie retired. And I think we can all agree there hasn't been. You don't have a plan, then go through 3 managers in 5 years or whatever, or 6 years.
When you have a technical director that have we got Paul back? I don't know.
No, I just
when you have a technical director, they kind of keep. When we would have been chopping and changing managers, they would have kept everything the same. Do you know what I mean? Some sort of consistency there, which we haven't had for a long time as well. Where does everyone think we're going to finish in the league? Can you get your comments in on that on YouTube as well if you're listening into this show? Sacre bleu, says JB25.
Like it.
As we lost the caller, Paul, but thank you very much for his call. Unfortunately, that one went. We are 2 points off relegation. How many games in are we? 9? 8?
Would you be fuming if I went to Paul? If Steve Bruce was the manager, would we be in relegation? You would, wouldn't you? Yeah, because I put words in his mouth.
Oh, let go go, man. You two, I tell you what.
Stop patronising our views.
Staring at him there. Hey, do you know what I mean?
Gents, we're going to have to...
Next time you see Joe running from a tram, it'll be me running behind him with a gun.
We're going to have to wrap up in a minute, but I just want, before we go, I want to get your three's view on one thing from Manchester United's point of view.
I've seen everything, by the way, from 4th to 20th on the predictions right now.
Yeah, we've ticked every box.
Yeah, literally, I'm just watching them come in. It's every single position is covered. But
except the top 3, I think.
What happens next for Manchester United over the next 6 months, over the next year, over the next 5 years?
You'll probably get battered by Liverpool.
Obviously what we want to happen is, Ollie to turn it around, us to get top 4 and win a trophy and all the rest of it, happy days. What realistically happens is, if the struggle continues, I think the Glazers will panic, as they always do. They'll bring in someone else as caretaker, and then at the end of the season we'll go again with a permanent manager. I don't think they'll make the same mistake twice in bringing in a caretaker and appointing him permanent if he has a good run. I think they'll bring in someone to steady the ship if things don't turn around, and then in the summer try and get a more long-term option, maybe a Pochettino if he's available.
Joe, what do you reckon?
Could say like a manager would take every game as it comes, but we will get unfortunately beat by Liverpool, or even though we might even put on a solid performance against Liverpool, but it won't be good enough. I think Ollie, if he's not with us to the end of the season, he will leave maybe about the Christmas time. We've got a run of Spurs and Manchester City in the early December, and that's kind of the time where Jose Mourinho was on the rocky path. Unfortunately, a couple of defeats there, and maybe a shock loss might see Ollie out. But I want him to stay to the end of the season and then sort of bow out, because I think next year we do need someone with a better understanding of how to take Manchester United forward.
Adam?
I don't know. I don't know where we are at the moment.
I think that's a lot of fans.
And I think if Ollie goes, we're in a world of trouble still. I can see reasons why Ollie shouldn't get the job and shouldn't stay in the job. But I can also see that he's not the only issue. So I genuinely don't know where we go from here. It's a mystery. I never thought we'd be here. And the words that my dad said to me on the Fergie's last home game at Old Trafford are still ringing in my ears. You're going to learn what it feels like to be a real football fan. And we have been over these last 6 years because we've been awful.
Does it all hinge on the Woodward-Glazer axis from here? Is it not going to change? Is it going to be the same story repeating itself?
The thing is, Woodward in any other job, he should be sacked. Any other job. He has to be responsible for failure, because if we won the league, right, he'd be out on the pitch.
It depends what
he'd
his
be
job
out
is,
taking
doesn't
pictures
it?
with trophies.
Is his job to win? Is his job to make money as a business, or is his job to run a successful football club?
He's put himself in
football club.
He's put himself in that position of executive vice chairman, which is a nonsense in itself because no one else calls themselves that. But he's put himself in that position where he's overseeing the football side of things.
Because he's going to do that. Buy the club.
Yeah, so he's going to do that.
Guy.
He's got to take the responsibility. Like Mac said, let's not forget, after Paris, he was in the dressing room. He went down there and he was taking all the plaudits and posing for photos and getting all the success. Yeah, when things are going wrong, it's all Ollie's fault or it's all the manager's fault. He has to take responsibility. But like I said earlier, as long as his club is making money, he's not going anywhere.
And if Ed Woodward has got balls, every time we've seen him, we've asked him for an interview.
Yeah,
he doesn't do it. Next time I do it, I'm not being polite and asking for him. We're absolutely just getting
4
in his
years
face
since he did one
with a camera and a mic. And if he has got any balls, I know he's such an egotistical dude that he'll watch things like this just to try and find someone complimenting him. Come on the show, come on FullTimeDEVILS and chat to the fans, because you wanted to talk about it when you were at the start. Where's all this talk now gone about other clubs can't
we can do things that other clubs can only dream of.
What's
that, losing to Newcastle?
Came on, he was on disguise as Nick.
There you
Who does that? Like,
he was one of the Mohammeds.
Edward was dead good, isn't he?
Ed Woodward, the gauntlet has been thrown down by Adam. That's all we've got time for on the show today. If you are watching on the live stream, make sure you click subscribe and make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well, which is Football Social Daily. It's a daily Premier League podcast. If you're listening on the podcast, go seek out FullTimeDEVILS on YouTube and subscribe to their channel. Adam, Jay, Joe, thank you very much for today.
Thanks for having
us.
Apart
from you, Joe.
I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
You too. Hey, they love each other, really.
See you next time.